races are kind of where I always envisioned them. Selling out, having a lot of atmosphere, the production value is high, the sense of destination and accomplishment is there. We always hit a summit or more than one summit. And just like skiing, you want to have après, you want to hang out afterwards and talk about your mountain adventure. So I make sure the atmosphere and the finish line and the party in the vendor village is just as much fun as the race itself. I started hiking Mount Olympus like 4 or 5 times a week. And, the stats on Mount Olympus is maybe 6 miles round trip with 4,000 vert. So, I mean, it's literally straight up. You are working so hard when you climb that mountain. Everything you got, your lungs, your aerobic capacity, your muscles, just your grit. You're just you're redlining, you're at maximum heart rate, and you just got to fight through it. And so I got pretty addicted to it. That spring, I got invited by my friend's wife to go do a trail run race down in Moab because, again, she saw that I was, quote unquote, running all the time. So I go down there, I get second place, and I'm pretty fired up. And at the time, I was a GoPro professional athlete, and they had the GoPro Mountain Games in Vail, Colorado. So a couple of weeks later, I got invited to come out on behalf of GoPro, and they're like, if there's anything you want to do, just let us know, or just come and hang out. And I saw they had a mountain run 15K. So I signed up for that. I got really humbled real fast because I thought for sure I was going to podium again, and realized I wasn't even anywhere near being as fast as these guys. But the one thing I noticed about the Moab race was that there's 200 or 300 people there paying 80, $90. There was zero production value. I was like, man, missed opportunity. People would finish the race, kind of look around, wait for their friend, and leave. We're like the only one that backed a car up, like popped the tailgate, and there's just no atmosphere. The race was beautiful, but I was like, I don't know how sustainable this event's going to be because there's not much else going on besides the race itself, but tons of young, interesting people. So it's just kind of something I noticed was the production value being low there. And then the GoPro Mountain Games, it was the opposite. The production value was through the roof, but there was no sense of destination on the race course design. It felt like they just ran us up into the aspen trees and figure eights until we hit that 15K number, and then brought us back across the finish line. So again, it kind of in the back of my head, I was like, oh, another missed opportunity with these races. Like, production value was gigantic, but there's no sense of like accomplishment with this course. Like, weird. So I got home and I was like, I want to find something that's like hiking Mount Olympus. 5 or 6, 7 miles with 3 or 4,000 vert, hitting a summit and coming back down. So I thought I'd find races in Utah that hit that kind of parameter. And I was pretty shocked. I found nothing that fit that criteria. Zero. The only thing I could find was in Europe and Alaska. But after 2 or 3 years of continuing to fall in love with basically bagging just about every peak in the Wasatch there, I was really addicted and never been in better shape in my entire life. And so I was in Iceland in 2015 in March, and we had just hiked this beautiful mountain, going to ski this amazing couloir. I'm watching the sunset over the Arctic Ocean, waiting for my friends to get to the top with me to ski this beautiful line. And right then I just felt so good. I felt so accomplished on top of this beautiful mountain I just hiked. And I was like, man, I'm gonna start that trail run series. I'm gonna do it. So that summer, 2015 is when we launched, and we had 4 races from August through October in 2015. And that first year, we only averaged 100 runners per race. And by year 3, we were starting to sell out our races at 500 runners an event. And now, since basically 2018, except for 2020 when we had to cancel the season because of COVID, but we've sold out every race the last 3 seasons. And that's 500 runners. We have approximately 30 to 40 brands come and set up their tents and activate in the vendor village. We have an amazing DJ and an announcer with a pedigree in X Games and Olympics and Dew Tour that does an amazing job announcing throughout the day. And we prize the sport category with the podium. So the beginner category gets a podium, male and female. Same with the expert category, and then the professionals. We have excellent prize money throughout the entire season. We have $50,000 in prize money. So even though we are very inclusive and want everyone to feel comfortable, we definitely want to make sure that the actual pros and the fastest guys and girls coming out are getting awarded with some great prize money, because it's awesome to see, a true beginner being able to sit down and chat with the professionals that there to lend some advice and some insight. And I can tell for the professionals, they're used to being around their peer network at events, so suddenly they're in an environment where tons of people are like literally fanning out on them. Is very unique for them too. So I can tell it's a pretty special experience for those pros as well. So for each venue, I architect each course design. And like I said, just from all the years I've spent in the high alpine hiking as a professional skier, I kind of have just kind of an instinct on what that kind of boundary is for being challenging, but still approachable. Because one thing I will mention is I like our races to be very inclusive. So we've had ages 7 through 82 compete in our races. So it's pretty magical to see a 7-year-old, like a grandson, dad, and grandpa line up in a start gate right next to like an actual Olympian, and somehow it makes sense for all of them. But all our race courses are on national forest, so it's all national forest approved trails, and we take our sense of high alpine, stay on the trail etiquette seriously. We truly do hit like real deal extreme terrain, iconic summits. That's what's the pinnacle, the kind of what puts the bow tie and everything. And everybody hits that same summit that runs the race. And it's like our race on Saturday at Brighton, we actually hit 4 different summits. So to have a course that hits 4 iconic extreme summits, in a 6.7 mile loop with 3,015 feet of vertical, it's a truly unique experience to go and travel through such extreme terrain and experience 4 different summits all under 7 miles. So I think that's just it. I mean, we're I guess we call us like a mini ultra, because ultras are for the elite of the elites. They're going 100 miles through the most rugged, high alpine, iconic summits imaginable in the country. So we just do that in a more condensed version, but we still hit the same real deal high alpine extreme terrain, but it's approachable for 7-year-old all the way to the top trail runners come out for it. I think that's what really the kind of undercurrent of the races themselves is, that sense of community. And I think people feel our inclusivity. I think everyone feels appreciated and recognized and seen, and very, non-judgmental kind of atmosphere. So I think the community is a huge aspect to it. And our average, all walks of life, really, we see a pretty even split on male, female, 50-50. Our average age is 31 years old. So most, I think, trail races and marathons and all that have a pretty older demographic, where somehow we've cracked that code, and, we have a kind of more younger, vibrant crowd. I'm pretty content with the 7 races we have. By runner count, throughout the entire season, we have more trail runners as far as an event production company than any other trail run race in the nation. So yeah, I mean, I want to add more. I'm always tempted to, but I'm really content with the 7 we have. And it's already a pretty big orchestration to to produce the 7 events or 8 events. So I think we're pretty good where we're at. When I come across the finish line and, there's this aura, there's just this energy there. And I'm looking around and just people are beaming with happiness. It's just like this amazing energy. And I just look around and it's just like, man, like this is genuine happiness. So I think there's just this couple hour window when people are finishing the race before we have awards. It's just, you want to bottle it up. And I'm like, man, money can't buy this. This is just too unique of the energy. Yeah, so that's my favorite part, is just seeing like genuine happiness on people's faces after they finish the race. And I guess that, is included in that kind of part of the community.